Welcome to the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers. There are no traffic jams along the Extra Mile when you're studying for your bar exam. And now, your host, Jackson Mummy.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to episode 238 of the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers. This is your host, Jackson Mummy. Really glad to have you with us. We are now, as this episode is being released, we are within a week of the February 2019 bar exams. Can you believe it? It seemed like just yesterday that we were talking about that exam being way off in the distance, 6 months out, and now here we are. Good luck to all of you that are taking the exam next week. Safe travels to you if you need to go a distance to take the exam. I know that the journey that everyone's been on has been an enormous one, and it's always a personal journey and certainly culminates with the testing next week, and our best wishes go with you as you go into that test. If this happens to be your first time on the podcast with us, we're glad that you found us. We do these podcasts every week on releasing on Wednesday mornings, and we do them in a video and an audio format. If you prefer the video format, you can go to our website at celebrationbarreview.com and then /238 for this episode, but just enter the episode number and you'll be able to watch, and the show notes are right there. If you prefer your podcasts in audio form, you can do that through Apple iTunes, through iHeartRadio, through Spotify, and a lot of other places where podcasts are syndicated. Or you can go to our website, and there's a podcast button at the top. Just click on that, and you'll find all of our episodes going back to the very first episodes, along with show notes. So it's all there for you, whatever format that you like. We appreciate so much that many of you share these podcasts with your colleagues and friends, your classmates, and the podcast has just grown over many times over in the last 4 years, and we really are very appreciative. And thanks for all the nice notes and comments that I get from you about these episodes. They're fun to do, and I'm glad that they're helpful for you. Now, today's episode is one of those that I really enjoy being able to do. It's to bring you an interview with a successful bar exam taker. And, I think the kinds of interviews I like in some ways the most are the ones that are most unlikely, the people that you would say, I just don't know. I mean, that seems like an odd, person to be sitting for the bar and then struggling through it and getting through it. And today's interview is with an individual, Priscilla, who I have great admiration for. She's a grandmother raising her granddaughter. She took the bar in Ohio. It took her 9 tries to pass the bar exam over a prolonged period of time. And Priscilla finally got there. And I'm just so thrilled for her. And we were glad to be part of her journey. And in this interview, you're going to hear what she did, how it worked, what worked for her. She used our tools of PhotoReading and Paraliminals and mind mapping, particularly on the multi-state. That's where we assisted her. But it's a great story of her absolute determination to not give up and to keep reaching for her dreams. And I think it's inspiring. So if you're getting ready to go to the exam next week, this is a really inspiring interview, I think, to listen or watch. And if you're taking the exam later, then I think it's also pretty uplifting to see somebody who just refused to give up. So we're going to get to that interview in just a moment. Now, before we do that, I want to let you know that our podcast today is being brought to you by our special free live training. It's called Do Something Different, Make the Next Bar Exam Your Last Bar Exam. We're going to be offering this training live on Thursday, February 21st, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be 4 o'clock Pacific Time. In this live training, I'll be walking through the 4 steps that successful students have followed in order to pass their bar exams. You'll be hearing from a number of those successful students in their own words. We'll be taking you step by step through what you have to do differently in order to get a different result. If you're taking the bar exam in July 2019 or any time in 2020, this is the time to be starting that process now, and this free training will give you a great head start in that direction. I'll also be doing a Q&A at the end of the training. Glad to answer questions that people have about the bar exam and the process. Now, this training is absolutely free, but you do need to register in advance, and you can do that pretty easily. Just jump down to the show notes for the audio or the video page. You'll see a link there. Just click on that and you'll be registered. Or you can go to our website at celebrationbarreview.com/webinar and register there. And if for some reason Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern doesn't work in your schedule, we also offer an on-demand version of the same content. Encourage you to take advantage of that. You can watch it at your convenience. Of course, the only difference is there's no Q&A, but you're welcome to send me your questions via email. You'll find a way to do that right within the webinar itself, and I'll be glad to respond. So one way or the other, we hope you'll join us. It's special training. It's called Do Something Different, Make the Next Bar Exam your last bar exam. And I think it's a great way to lead into our interview today with Priscilla, because what Priscilla had to discover for herself was how important it was to do things differently. She needed to make changes in order to give herself a chance to pass the bar. And she made those changes, and the result was success. So let's go ahead and jump into our interview with a successful Ohio attorney, Priscilla Berthold. To another episode of Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Students. And today we have Priscilla Berthold with us. And Priscilla, boy, what a journey this has been, and what a great moment it is to share with you. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah. You want to tell us what bar exam you passed?
Ohio.
Yeah. And how many tries did it take?
9, I think.
9. Okay. So folks, I'm not going to bury the lead here. Priscilla really worked hard at this, and she refused to give up, just flat out refused. And I wanted you to come on today to share with people what that journey has been like. And just, we're so proud of you and so pleased for you. So I think a good place to start would be just telling our audience a little bit about your background and how it was that you came to law school and why you wanted to go through this and ended up taking the Ohio bar.
I started law school in 99, in January of 99, went to Thomas Cooley. Actually, I had a really good experience there. It was something I always wanted to do. I had done a little bit of paralegal work, retired from a job, and I decided that law school was something that I always desired to do. After I finished law school in 2001, so it only took me actually 2 years and 1 semester, and I finished. I came home. I took the bar exam in July. I graduated in May, took it in July, and didn't pass. So I was discouraged, but I went ahead and took the February, and then I didn't pass that. So then, of course, I was depressed, and some other family issues come in, medical issues. So I didn't sit for the bar exam again until 2015. So I graduated in 2001, and the last bar exam I took was 2002. And 2015, I came back up to Ohio from San Antonio, Texas, and decided I'm going to sit for the bar exam. First, when I took it, I didn't pass. I got a hold of you the next time because I was having trouble with the MBE. So that's where I met you. And I was like, I need to do something different for the MBE. So I took the tests, and I still struggled, and I didn't pass. But I took it consistently. Every time I took it that it was offered after 2015. So I took it once in 2015, twice in 2016, twice in 2017, and then I passed it in July of 2018.
Okay. So that's quite an odyssey. I think the question that a lot of people would be asking is, why did you stay with it? Why didn't you just give up?
It's just not in my DNA, I guess, is a good way of saying it. It just isn't. I mean, I thought all the time, and this is one thing I always kept in mind, was if I were working for a client, would I give up? And the answer would be no, never. So I needed to just keep focusing on, and I had a wonderful husband who would tell me over and over and over again, you can't give up. This is your dream. You know, this is your dream. So the last time I took the bar, and this is for people that I know that it's really difficult when you don't pass, and it's so discouraging. But you know what? In July, I went to the bar exam, and my husband had some medical issues, and I really wasn't going to do anything I possibly could not to take it. And he said to me, you need to just go take it. You've paid for it. Go take it. What do you got to lose? You've already not passed before. I went relaxed, I went comfortable, and I said, I'm going to do my best. Mm-hmm. And when I saw my name on the list in October, whenever it come out, I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, at 10 to 7, I woke up, I had a bad headache. And I was like, oh, here's this day that I'm dreading. My husband never even mentioned the day to me. And so I'm like, At 7 o'clock, I said, well, might as well get this over with. So go to the bar exam thing, and I go down to the B's, and I'm like, I screamed at the top of my lungs, I passed. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, who do I have to thank, and who do I need to tell? And it was just such an awesome feeling. So the reward that you get from just persevering and passing is something that is undescribable. So I guess to me, I would say to those that struggle and say, I can't do this, don't give up. It's your dream. It's nobody else's.
Yeah. And I remember so many times we talked, and I would say, all right, look, let's think about a different strategy. Let's go to a different jurisdiction. Let's try something different. And you were always very insistent that you were going to stay with it. You were going to stay in Ohio. And we don't offer an Ohio course. So the only thing I could help you with was the MPTs and the multi-state. And it was really frustrating to me, because I knew that if I could get you in another jurisdiction and I could help you with the writing part, we could get you over the top. And you were just absolutely determined. And I kept saying, remember this, I kept saying, well, wait, you went to law school in Michigan, Ohio, what, I don't get it. But you were just determined. That was like, you were going to do it. And that was the deal for you. And I think that there was a certain strength of character, strength of will in you, and is in you, that I think is absolutely correct when you say you're the kind of attorney that somebody would want to have. I don't want someone who would give up. But it was also the sense that you just weren't going to let the exam beat you. It must have felt pretty discouraging, though, along the way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every time I would get that, I would try to be strong whenever everybody was around. It was like, it's okay. But I'd cry my eyes out whenever they were all gone. It's a really horrible thing and you start thinking so many different thoughts, like, I can't pass this. I'm stupid. I'm this, why did I choose this? The list goes on and on. But the thing is, you just have to realize it's the test taking strategy along with the ability, because I don't think that anybody that goes to law school or takes the test is stupid. By no means, they're not. It's the test taking strategy. And then you get nervous and you're scared and you're afraid if I don't answer this. I honestly can say when I went in there in July, I just said, you know what? I know this. I'm doing this. And that's it.
Yeah. Going into that July exam, how many hours a week would you say you were studying on average?
No more than 2 or 3.
Yeah. And 2 or 3 hours a day and studying going in. And you were working through the multi-state questions with us and the MPTs. And I know you were working with a variety of different approaches on the essay part, because Ohio's got their own specific essays. Right. Did it feel like it was going to be a different exam for you in July? Was there anything other than the fact that you were just kind of more relaxed going in?
I think that I told myself with the essay, go to the call of the questions, see what they're asking, and then go up and pick out the facts. Kind of like what you said, but you really couldn't school me on the essay because you didn't do Ohio, which in the future you may consider because they're moving to the UBE.
Yeah, it will be part of our course. So, we're glad to have Ohio join the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it is going to, and I actually, when I went to the Lorain County Bar Association meeting, one of the attorneys that grade papers, I said, I don't know why they're so outdated anyway. She says, well, because it was jurisdictional specific. And I said, and the point of that is what? She says, well, I graded the papers. And I'm like, oh, shut your mouth, Priscilla. It's like,
there you go.
But,
okay.
But I think that, Jackson, doing the multiple choice and looking at the multiple choice and looking at what they're asking you and going down, and for me, is all I can speak for, is looking at the ones are specifically wrong. They're the wrong law. And you can get rid of them, and then you would be to 2, and then try to look at your stem and see what they're asking. And, and I know you only have a certain amount of time, but if you've done enough practice, I had, because I did the photo reading. Mm-hmm. So I had more than enough time. I was 30 minutes done on the MBE.
Yeah. I want to talk about photo reading because obviously we get a lot of comments, a lot of people talk about it. And I have some people that come to me and they say, I'm too old to photo read, or I'm too, I just walked myself into a corner here. I am not suggesting you are old. However,
that's okay.
You might be older than some of our listeners or watchers. And, but you embraced photo reading really very eagerly. Can you tell me why you thought that would be helpful and what it was like for you?
Well, when I started, I didn't know if it would be, and I thought this is really a farce because, that's the first thing you think of. But then as I started to go through with Paul Sheely, and then I started using the Paraliminals, they would help me get centered and focused, and then when I did the photo reading, I was able then to look at, and that's where I started learning to skim through the material with the mind mapping and all that, and start learning the elements and looking for the right areas of law for the stem of the question. I mean, that is what it helped me with the most.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it gave you the time in the study, the time on the exam, you used mind mapping. I was really excited about that. I thought that when you started to incorporate mind mapping, that gave you a visual representation of the work that you were doing. And then you were using the paraliminal recordings as well to help kind of deal with the challenges and the mental fatigue of doing this. Were there any particular recordings in the paraliminals that you particularly liked?
Supercharger, and You're a Genius. I mean, them were my favorite too. I mean, I always listen to them. I remember every night when I'd come home from the bar exam, I would listen to that, and then I would listen to there's an A and B part of it. And I would listen to that, and that You're a Genius, because it helped give you positive reinforcement, I think.
Yeah, because I think you hear so many negatives in life, and certainly as a woman, as a having been at this for a few years, you're not a 22-year-old. There's a lot of things going on there where I think it would be easy to say, well, I'm not the traditional, typical law student taking the bar exam, and yet, you think about what you've accomplished, it's really remarkable, and you are a genius and you are capable. And so I think sometimes we lose sight of that, all of us, and it's really nice to get that sort of positive affirmation being fed into you and then accelerating the other work that you're doing. But I know that you worked really, really hard at this. You mentioned your husband. I know that he was very supportive. What was it like for him to have you going through this for so long a period of time?
I think at times, like he was always real supportive, and he was, even when I went to law school. So, I mean, I have to say, that he was real supportive there as well. I mean, nobody thinks about the spouse or the boyfriend or the girlfriend. They just think about, yourself. And what I realized was that, he was always telling me, you need to do this for yourself because this is something. And like now, he tells me, I don't care if you work or you don't work. The bottom line is this was something you wanted to accomplish. And so it was your dream and you've accomplished it now, no matter what. No one can take it from you. So I think for me with him was that the holidays, that I would have to sit studying where, we're raising our granddaughter. So he would take her and go and do things where I was sitting at the desk or, just many things like that over the years. And like I said, this last one, I didn't study as much because I realized that I can't burn myself out either, because at the day of that test, you have to have a clear mind, but you can never, ever tell yourself that you don't have to study, because honestly, it's not a test where you can go in and not know it and think you're going to pass it.
Yeah.
You have to know the material.
Yeah. And I was always impressed by the fact that when the results came out, as disappointed as you were just very much resolved to get back in and get after it. You mentioned your granddaughter. How old is she?
She's 16.
16. So she knows what this struggle has been like for you.
Oh, yeah.
What did she say to you when you got your results?
Oh, she was like sleeping. I screamed and she hadn't got up for school yet. And she's like, what is happening? What is happening? She says, I knew you could pass it.
Yeah.
She's such a silly girl.
What a great thing, though. I mean, what a great modeling for her of not giving up and being willing to push for your dreams, right? Because there were plenty of people that would tell you that you should just give up on your dreams. And one of the reasons I wanted so much to do this interview, and I know that we've had some challenges getting it scheduled and a lot of other things, but I really wanted to do this because I think you are a wonderful example of reaching and just being determined to reach your dreams, and that having that role model for people is so encouraging when they're so discouraged, right? When they're just feeling like, I just can't do it. But one of the things I really liked about the way you approached it, Priscilla, was that you were willing to say, you know what, I've tried this. Now let me add photo reading. Let me add paraliminals. Let me do the mind mapping. Let me try this approach. You were continually adapting and growing through your work. And we saw your scores go up. I mean, one thing, I know you're probably too modest to say it, but your multi-state scores were really, really good way before we got your essays up. I mean, we were like, yeah. And I was like, come on, Priscilla, just go to another jurisdiction. I mean, just take that multi-state score and we can make something happen here.
Well, that's what my husband said. He said, why would he tell you to go? We live in Ohio. And I was like, because he wants me to pass the bar exam.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Get in another jurisdiction where he can help with the essays. I said, nobody understands that every jurisdiction's different. Now that they do have the UBE in different ones, that's great. But I mean, like I was telling him, Ohio is like always behind the 8 ball and everything. I mean, as far as like moving forward, I guess. But I wanted to pass the Ohio bar because it was something. I went to law school in Michigan, and I come back home, and this is my hometown. So I do know a lot of people here, and actually I just started doing some work with one of the criminal defense attorneys here. So the thing is, I just am not a quitter like that. I knew I was going to pass that bar exam unless I dropped dead.
Yeah.
Because and it doesn't mean I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't drop dead. And doing criminal defense, which is not necessarily what we would expect to look at you, that you're a criminal defense attorney.
I don't know if that's going to be or not, but I'm trying it.
But there you go, right? And so, I mean, talk about fighting for your clients, right? It's a big deal to be able to do that. What has it been like since you passed the bar, became a member of the bar? I think sometimes we don't give enough attention to this. You work so hard, and then this moment comes. What's it been like since you passed the bar?
Since I passed the bar exam, I went actually to shadow another attorney that does domestic relation, and he also works at the prosecutor's office in the municipal court. I shadowed him for a week to see if maybe because I didn't really know what kind of law I want to practice. Mm-hmm. So I followed him for a week to see how, I would like that. And I didn't take that off the table. But then they have a mentoringship in Ohio that they give you, because you have like 12 legal hours of continuing legal education that you have to do. So I already did the 3. And so this was a 9-hour free from the Supreme Court of Ohio, where I could do that and get my 9 hours. So an attorney that I have known for over 30 years, I asked him to be my mentor. So I met with him. And so then he offered me a full-time job, but I don't want to do full-time because I want to be home for Aviana. I don't want her to be a latchkey kid. And I don't know if I want to do criminal law only.
Right.
So I started working with him on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, that's great. So you've got a kind of a balance, right? I mean, and I think it's important to recognize that not everybody that gets a law degree and passes the bar is working full time. I mean, sometimes this is literally just the fulfillment of a dream. It's finishing something you started a long time ago. I'm sure it didn't occur to you that it would take this long to get there. It didn't make it any less sweet, though, did it?
No, I was honestly, it's just something I can't explain to people. It's still like I'm in shock, I guess is a good way of saying it, because another attorney called me on the phone and he said, I'm looking for Attorney Berthel. And I said, who? And he said, Attorney Berthel. And I said, who? I said, oh my God. Yeah. I said, hi, how are you? And he says, you are a miracle. That's just what he told me. He said, you are a miracle. I cannot believe all that you've accomplished. And so, I mean, I basically retired from a job and was able to go to law school. Some people don't do that. They don't get that opportunity. Yeah. So they start right out of school, and then they're have so many different things that they have to do, and they need a job full time. I mean, I'm still not sure what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah,
good for you. I like that. Me either. Well, that is awesome. I know that there are a lot of people watching who will watch this interview and listen to this interview who are deeply discouraged, and pass rates are bad everywhere, as you know. And they've heard a lot of people tell them they should give up. What would you say to those people right now?
I would say don't give up, because your dream is your dream. Your goal is your goal. no one can accomplish it or take it away but you. So even though you may struggle to get to the other side, everything that is worth having is worth struggling for. So just keep doing what you're doing, and don't tell yourself that, you know, you can't do it. Tell yourself positively you can do it. You know, and I mean, I many times would think throughout the times that I didn't pass, why am I doing this? What's the use? But still inside of me was that I want to do this for me. It's my dream. It's my goal.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say to anybody. And I know that there's a few people that on the Celebration Bar that I've texted and told them, you know, keep up the good work. You can do this. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Well, that's very kind of you. I think you are not giving yourself quite enough credit there, but you were part of our Facebook group, right? You participated in that. Was that helpful to you to be in that community of bar takers?
Yes, and you know what? And there's a few people, like I said, that have been since I started, and I started with you. I want to say in 2016, maybe.
Yeah.
Is whenever I took the class. And actually, I don't even know how I found you. See, I say that's God working in my life, because I was scrolling online whenever I come across a Celebration Bar, because I mean, I'd already taken a ton of other stuff. I mean, Barbary, Themis, you know, private tutor, I mean, everything. But I could never get my MBE scores up, ever. And by doing that test and following the things that, you know, because that's the course I took with you. And like I said, that was the things that helped me, you know, and then I would just look over the stuff that you had, and, you know, and then I got an idea, and I'd look at your writing and stuff that you put out or whatever was in the books. And then I would just like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. So that's, you know, and I when I first took you, it was like for the MBE, because I had another tutor, but I learned so much more. And I remember one time, something that you said to me, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but I was like, oh, he makes me so mad. And then I thought, I don't remember exactly what it was. I said, I'm going to show him. I am going to pass this bar exam.
Yeah. Okay. So probably not my finest moment.
But hey, it helped, because you know what? Sometimes people, the people that help you the most, and I tell my granddaughter this all the time, the people that help you the most are the people that are telling you the truth. Not people that are telling you what you want to hear, but people that are telling you what you need to hear to help you grow and get out of your comfort zone to move forward. You know?
Yeah, and I think you were tough enough to hear that and to take those suggestions and advice and decide how to implement them and how to use them. I know that you were a very positive influence in our private Facebook group, our group coaching calls, those behaviors and activities. And it was always kind of, we don't have a lot of students that take our course for a jurisdiction like Ohio where we don't do the essays. So it was a little bit different. And yet I felt like you were doing everything, you were extracting as much as you could from what we had to offer and applying it, and then using it to make your studies overall get better and better. And it seemed like you really were making great progress, and your MBE scores got way over what, I mean, you could have passed in California with your MBE scores. And so it was just like, okay, if this other stuff will just come along, right? If the essay writing will just come along, you got a shot. So I wasn't surprised at all when you passed. I was very pleased, but it was just oh, thank goodness, she finally got all of the pieces together in one time, one sitting, and pulled it off. And it had to be that same feeling for you of just enormous relief that, oh my gosh, it's done, right?
Yeah, it is. And as I said, and I remember taking all the material and just putting it in the garbage can and watching the, what do you call them, BFI people take it away. I was like, yeah.
That's pretty exciting. Yes. Thank you for recycling. We appreciate it.
Recycling machine. It's like, go. I don't want to look at this again.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm so excited for you, and I'm so thankful for you sharing your story and being transparent about all the things that have happened. I believe that regardless of how you choose to practice law, in what capacity, you will be successful simply because you're somebody that refuses to lose. And I love that about you. I love the model that you set for your granddaughter, for your family, for your friends, for the people in our course. And I've appreciated that so much over these past couple of years. it's really an honor for us to work with people like you, Priscilla, because you remind us of why we got into this, my wife and I, why we started this business 30 years ago, is because to be able to help people achieve their dreams means something. And your dream is powerful, and we are incredibly proud of you and pleased for you. Anything else you want to share with our audience before we finish up here? Because I know you're busy, you got a lot going on.
No, I'd just like to say the people taking the February bar exam or the July upcoming, just keep in mind that Rome wasn't built in a day and it didn't fall in a day. So little bit by little bit, study your stuff day by day, and I wish them all the best. And I will be praying that they all are successful.
Yes, as we will all. Well, thank you again, Priscilla. Congratulations. Good luck on your legal career. Give our best to your family. And we thank you so much for being here. And to our audience, thanks for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye, everybody. That's our episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed the discussion with Priscilla. She is a great lady. I think she's going to be a great member of the Ohio Bar, and we're proud that we could be of assistance to her. Again, for those of you heading off to your exams next week, good luck to you. Best wishes. We'll look forward to hearing from you after the exam. We'll share with you feedback from the exams in upcoming episodes, let you know what people are talking about around the country. Again, I just want to remind you that we've got a special free live training session coming up on Thursday, February 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. It's titled, Do Something Different, Make the Next Bar Exam Your Last Bar Exam. Make sure you register. You can go to celebrationbarreview.com/webinar to claim your spot, or you can just click on the button here on the show notes. And again, we'll see all of you next week. Good luck to those of you in the exams, and for those of you not in the exams, we'll be back here along the Extra Mile with more information about the bar. See you, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers at www.celebrationbarreview.com.